Okay, this is the video everybody asked for. Yeah. You think this is a simple video? Oh my god, no. It took me a long time to put this list together because I had to go over it and over it and over it and over it. By the way, the links are below if you want to take a look at the list. These are the absolute best micro contrast lenses from Nikon, in my estimation. Both current production and no longer in production. Like I said, click the link below. You might protest at something. Well, I don't think you can protest anything that's there. You might protest, well, why isn't so-and-so there? Well, I have good reason for it. There are plenty of really good lenses, some of which just barely made the cut, but they did make the cut, you know. This is plenty long enough. I think there's, what, 25 or 30 lenses here, including current production and past production. Now, I own all of these lenses except for the 400, 500, and 600 millimeter. So all of these lenses I own, and usually multiples of these lenses. So I own all of these. These are very good, but not very best current production lenses. 24 millimeter 1.8 G, 35 millimeter 1.4 G, 55 millimeter 2.8 AIS. That's a macro NIKKOR. That's Nikon still makes some manual focus lenses, by the way. Not many, but some. The 58 millimeter 1.4 G, the 300. Do you really want me to bring all these lenses out here and pick them up and hold them? I mean, it'd take me like an hour to get all those lenses out of those countless Pelican cases. I mean, if I just need to sit here and I need to hold them, I mean, I've got like 4,600 videos where you can see I own these lenses. I mean, I'm not going to go back there and pull out 25 lenses out of like 40-some plus Pelican cases. I mean, it's just, no. It took me long enough to put this list together and go over it and over it again and check and recheck, and it's like, yeah, this belongs on the list. I mean, I didn't make this list quickly. Did not. Took some time. The 58 millimeter 1.4 G. Yes, indeedy. Now, I'm saying these are very good, okay? Not the very best. 300 millimeter f4 AFS. There's a lot of 300 millimeters in here, so check the list to make sure you're understanding what I'm talking about. Now, very best current production, and these are in no specific order, like this is number 1, number 2, you know, second best. I mean, no particular order. 35 millimeter f2 D-series autofocus, 35 millimeter f1.4 AIS. Yes, that's a current production lens. 50 millimeter 1.4 AIS. 50 millimeter 1.8 AFD, 60 millimeter 2.8 D-series autofocus, 105 millimeter D-series, that's the DC NIKKOR, the 135 millimeter f2 DC NIKKOR, the 180 millimeter D-series autofocus, 300 millimeter 2.8 AFS NIKKOR, 400 millimeter 2.8, 500 millimeter f4, and 600 millimeter f4. I have used those lenses, so I own every lens in this list except the 400, 500, 600. Have used those. I actually want none of those lenses except for the 600 millimeter f4. That's like the only remaining. There's only 2 NIKKOR lenses that I actually want to own that I don't currently own. One's a 19 millimeter perspective control, and the other one's a 600 millimeter f4. Zoom lenses. There's only 3 here that qualify, and I'm not saying they're wonderful. I'm saying that they're very easily passable, awesome lenses, even for black and white and decent micro contrast to decent saturation rendering. 200 to 500 NIKKOR, 17 to 55 2.8 AFS DX lens, 80 to 200 millimeter 2.8 NIKKOR. Lenses no longer in production. My list of very best in no particular order of best to worst or anything like that. 50 millimeter f2 AIS, 55 millimeter f1.2 AIS, 58 millimeter 1.2 Noct. 85 millimeter 1.8 D series, awesome lens, really cheap. 85 millimeter f1.4 D series autofocus, also very awesome and very cheap. 105 millimeter f1.8 AIS. 105 millimeter f2.5 AIS. Both versions of the 135 millimeter AI and AIS, the 3.5 and the 2.8 135 millimeter. 180 millimeter 2.8 AIS, the 200 millimeter f4, 300 millimeter f4 D series autofocus, 300 millimeter f4.5 EDIF for the gold ring version. The 300, there's 6 different versions of the 300 millimeter f4.5, by the way. The 300 millimeter f2.8 AI and AIS NIKKOR, the big fat manual focus. Got both of those lenses. 300 millimeter 2.8 AI/AIS. AIS. 400 millimeter f3.5 AIS. Also, still should be on this list, but I didn't include it. And the reason I didn't include it is because that big ass honking, just a fat honking log, the 600 millimeter f4 AIS. Yeah, it's manual focus, and it's huge. It's huge. I don't really recommend it for anybody. You can get it kind of cheap, but I mean, it's manual focus and it's huge. So that's really the only reason I didn't include it. It's just, you really got to love that lens to want to. It's manual focus and it's enormous. Really enormous. So the link below is for these lenses. Very good current production, very best current production. Zoom lenses, of which there's only 3, and no longer in production. Awesome Tata's Epic Woodpecker Lips. Silk, Sex, and Sugar. Awesome fine rendering and black and white, deep saturation, micro contrast, high tonality, great rendering, good gain on low gain intertonal detail transmission to sensor. There we go. This is the video everybody kept asking me for, and trust me, this was not an easy video to make, because making this list and going over it and over it and over it and over again, over it and over it. I mean, I know all these lines. I just string them off the top of my head. It's like, well, does that really belong on there? Like, well, does it really make the cut? Like, yeah, well, what about another? What about this one? That took a long time. Yep. Thank you so much for watching. If you like these videos, you can always click the link below, because I don't have affiliate links, and I always, I'm killing myself on phone calls and emails and comments, and this isn't really a job. If it is, it's a really low-paying job, because this is 7 days a week, no less than 10 hours a day. Really, it is. It's no less than 10 hours a day. The videos don't take that long. It's everything else other than the videos. But yeah, I digress. Thank you so much for watching. Catch you later. Goodbye.